Hello, everyone. Welcome to Loud and Proud Orlando. It's Monday, August the 4th, 6:36 p.m. Thank you to everyone that's live right now, about 15 people. Thank you for your support. More joining, I'm sure, in the next few minutes. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. We're coming for a win in League's Cup against Atlas. We're going to be discussing the 3-1 win against Atlas today, as well as the OCB loss 4-1 against NYCFC 2, which is a really bad result for OCB. Leagues Cup table. We're going to be previewing the game against Necaxa. And we're also going to be talking about lineup rotation, our score predictions, and your comments. Make sure that you're subscribing to Loud and Proud Orlando. We are also available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, X, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you check us out as Loud and Proud Orlando. I'm here with John today, my co-host. John, how are you, my friend?
I'm great, buddy. 3-1 win. We got that home win.
That's right.
It wasn't MLS, but we got that home win. So, got to take the positives from this weekend where they are. And Orlando City 3-1 over Atlas was a positive. It was quite enjoyable to watch a lot of the sad Atlas fans know that their team was out as we kind of kept ourselves in the competition with a good win.
Yeah, Orlando City defeated Atlas 3-1 in Inter&Co Stadium on the weekend. Second match day of Leagues Cup 2025, Phase 1. This victory kept Orlando City's hopes alive for advancing to the knockout stage, while Atlas became and I'm going to repeat this, Atlas became the first Mexican team eliminated from the 2025 Leagues Cup. We did it, John. We were the first ones who actually eliminated one of the first Mexican teams. A big team, too, I may ask. Kudos to all the people that came and supported Atlas as well. But overall, just like you said, I think it was there were a little bit of tactical adjustments, and I think let's start by that. I think when Oscar brought in the lineup after the 1-1 draw against Pumas, and Nico and Kyle Smith, just were there to play manage player fatigue due to probably Florida conditions and things like that. Alex Freeman and Marco Pašalić, I believe, when they were introduced, they became very effective. I think the team completely changed. Freeman's assist, Pašalić goal. Do you feel that was one of the reasons why we got this W in the bag, John?
I think, dropping Muriel definitely helps. We talked about that, the Enrique energy that he brought up front. But I do think a bit of rotation, some fresher legs. We saw that Alex Freeman was a bit tired, so it makes sense that Kyle Smith came in. Nico Rodriguez was the surprising start, Luis. That's the one that was really someone I didn't think Oscar would go to start in the second game of this tournament. Dagger Dan coming in makes sense. The guy can rotate in multiple positions. There's really not much drop off with him coming in any of the positions. I think he's able to do a very good job. And Kyle, like I talked about, so Nico was the real surprise getting the start, I think, for me. I expected a bit of rotation, and we kind of saw that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, look, and again, I don't want to be. We definitely want to focus on the positives here. That the team came alive in front of the fans, which I think is very important. It was hot as balls. Trust me, I was there, and it was pretty hot. But
hotter, or I think than Wednesday. Even Wednesday was also
I
really
felt,
hot. This whole week has been.
I felt
unbearable.
it was. I felt this weekend was hotter. It was pretty bad. You could have cooked an egg on the street for sure. It was scorching hot. Now, obviously, this team is used to playing in this heat, but obviously, some players are going to withstand that more than others. But I'm gonna just keep saying it. I think the team needs to prioritize. I understand that we just got a brand new player, Tyree Spicer, but we need to prioritize. And I understand that Oscar and his group of players want to compete in Leagues Cup. but I think the game coming up this weekend on Sunday, it's probably the most important one. And Oscar talked about it a little bit on the press conference. So to everybody that checked it out, we broke records with the video. We definitely appreciate you. I try to do my best to timestamp everything. So they asked him that question about rotation, and he was pretty specific that they're gonna have to make a decision based on how are the players feeling, physically, because they certainly don't want to give the fans an L in front of Inter Miami, right? So, um, what are your thoughts? Do you still feel the same way, John? You still feel like this is Leagues Cup maybe can take a little bit of a backseat? Like you wouldn't be too upset if we got eliminated out of this tournament? I mean, I hate the format, to be honest with you, but that's another story.
Yeah, when we get in later to talking about the League's Cup, we'll kind of look at the situation and talk realistically about going through. I think in some ways it's nice because it's getting a lot of the games done quickly, but I just think that only four teams going through, like we said, it was after the second game, a lot of teams are out, and it's kind of fallen where we have a chance of going through, but it's not super strong chance. Like there's a lot of other teams that have a better odds of going through than us. So it kind of leaves in a situation like we'll talk about later as to how much effort you put into this last game, especially with Miami looming on Sunday. But in terms of this game, I mean, Ojeda,
Yep.
he got that. He got the first goal, right? If I'm remembering correctly.
Well,
For
he
us, yeah, he got the
yep,
first goal for us.
that's right.
And sorry, no, Angulo got the first
No,
goal.
Angulo was the first one, and then
Incorrect. Sorry, let's cast our minds back to
Pašalić is the third one, and then Ojeda is the second one.
Angulo's goal. I just feel like was finally the moment of him trying to do the move that he's been trying all season, where like he tries that cutback and he's been trying it, and it was like, oh my god, he finally did it. And yeah, and it was great, man, because obviously we've had to be very critical of Angulo, rightfully so, because he was not playing well. But ever since he got dropped, he's been doing better and better, and he's got assists last game. This game, he finally pulls off the cutback and puts a nice finish up, and that was 9 minutes in. So, not only we go up one, but it's Angulo who scores. I mean, what a great start.
I'm just happy for Angulo because he only played, I think, not even 200 minutes in Brazil, like really barely. He was loaned to the fourth division of Brazilian football. I mean, the kid has been like just shunned away in the corner, And coming to Orlando was a way to prove himself. Came into the Oscar system. He thrived. He started as a literally as a third string option, and then became the starter. And when he dipped, and I think everybody in the fan base, pundits, everybody saw that he definitely dipped. Oscar, and I commend that he told him, hey, you need to start producing, my friend. You know what I mean? I can have your back every freaking game. And I'm glad that he's delivering big time. I think his early goal really set the tone. He's improved his form tremendously. His I don't know if you have SofaScore, but on FootMob,
Yeah,
his heat map was just like
I'll try to pull that up.
impressive. His heat map was just impressive when it came to just that wing. And not only that, it kind of became a little bit contagious to Nico Rodriguez. And I feel, I don't know about you, you brought it up not too long ago. I think this was probably the best few minutes we've seen Nico Rodriguez play. Um, Obviously, he had that chance that kind of went anywhere, but
I thought of you, Luis, when he missed that chance. I went, "Oh, Luis he's gonna laugh at that one." Like he did. It was a good move, though. He just didn't finish it well, and I feel like that's what we're seeing with Nico. Is this the building blocks are there, pieces are coming together, but he's still a very unfinished product.
yeah, for sure. I think Angulo, and I talked to him in a press conference. He mentioned that This is a kid that is adapting a little slow, but he's certainly doing all of the merits to get minutes and working within the system just like he did before. So we'll see. Maybe next season we're gonna see more of like a Nico having way more minutes than this year, and Nico with a full preseason. I think it'll be good to see. David Albury says here, "What's up, guys? Great match. Onto the next one. Let's keep this train moving." Nico just needs a different haircut, and then yep, that's right. He needs to go to Great Clips. They have a $9 coupon. Yeah, so sorry for the cheap plug. F, praying for Ramiro's ankle. Oh man, I think hopefully he's fine. I haven't really heard anything, so be honest with you, I have no updates there. Speaking of pretty hot, hi John. Oh wow, look at that! You got a fan of
Hi, F.
uh, you have fans, bro. Landing once again. It was hot as hell. It says Landon, thank you so much. At last says Landon, thank you. F, I just subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, X, Instagram, and YouTube. Thank you so much, F. Appreciate it. Yeah. Now we talked about tactical adjustments. We talked about Ivan Angulo's resurgence. Now let's talk about Martin Ojeda's impact, dude. Because I mean, what can I say? I mean, this dude is like just killing it. He's just becoming that player that it's he scores a goal and just motivates the team to score a couple more. He's just that good of a performer. Man of the match for sure. Goal and an assist. 13 goals and 12 assists in the MLS season. This is obviously combined with the Leagues Cup numbers. He's literally Orlando's best player, and his ability just to just carve Atlas's backline, it was just tremendous, and also forcing them, I feel, to make some mistakes, marking some of our players. I think he did a tremendous job in this game. What are your thoughts on Martin, my friend?
He is our guy right now. He's him. He's everything. He like we
He certainly
suspected.
deserves a 10.
Yeah, like as we suspected, he is taking that 10 role seriously. And I also just think he's like a professional a lot of the
Yeah,
time, right? I just feel like his consistency to produce is I think that's one of the things people don't realize that is not only, yes, he's very talented, but he produces like every game. And if you go
yeah,
back, I think I'm trying to find how far back it goes. There's only a few games in the last like 15 or so where he hasn't got a goal or assist.
yeah.
So he's very consistent with either providing something that's going to help the team get over the line. And yeah, he is the guy. And I feel like often I just don't understand why teams don't mark him better. I don't get it, Luis. Like too often, I just think they lose him or he finds a way of getting into great spaces. But too often do I find, Martin Ojeda's got space and time to finish like he did. In this game, I want to say that the Matthias Kokoro, he got the equalizer in the 50th minute with that kind of weird header that just wasn't a good clearance by Brecalo. But I wanted to ask you, Luis, do you feel like maybe Pedro should have come off his line in that situation? Or do you feel like it was mainly just Brecalo didn't head the ball clear enough?
Well, I just honestly felt it was like 70-30, maybe. Just I think
The
Brecalo.
highlights they're saying like, "Oh, Pedro should have come off his line." I was like, "Well, maybe," but
Yeah,
there's two defenders right in front of him, and they look like they're about to deal with it. So
yeah. Kokoro was looking for that the whole entire game,
yeah, it
and
wasn't the best clearance by Brecalo,
yeah, it wasn't.
but a
It
nice
was
finish.
really bad clearance. It was a bad clearance, but again, I think the typically it would have sucked to give the fans another draw, and the team I think delivered a W, which I think is the most important thing. Just kind of getting rid of that all that bad juju, and then the whole shebang bang happened. The whole scuffle happened with the Atlas players, which they were already frustrated that they were going to be the first Mexican team eliminated out of the tournament. And there's this whole political turmoil about Mexico and the United States and the whole Classico thing with the men's national team. uh, you know they don't want to definitely lose against any MLS teams, but you know I think Orlando in this scenario, I expected, believe it or not, a stronger Atlas team. I didn't really. I thought this was to be a more of an even contested game, and I think Orlando had some of the bad misses when it came to some. Orlando could have been 5-1. If Nico would have scored that one, if maybe another goal, there were a couple of misses
Yeah.
that
Football
Orlando
has 3
also
big
had.
chances missed. So, like we
Yeah,
talked about
so
before, we're still missing chances.
that would have been a 6-1 result. That would have been insane, right? Now, um, obviously, home advantage also was important. I feel like the psychological of the crowd was
Yeah.
bumping. I think I think it was an importance. It was very emphasized the importance of winning at home due to the recent struggles of the team. But I just think also there was a they're already used to playing in this type of environment, especially in this heat. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think
I
that's
think
important for this
different
win.
from the Pumas game, we got the subs right. And I think having the rotated guys on the pitch allowed, for me, like the game changed when Alex and Marco came on. I mean, immediately Alex comes on, gets that, run up the right hand side and plays that gorgeous ball over to Martin, and Ojeda slots it in. Then we're 2-1 up. And then at the final kind of end of the game, Marco getting the final goal from the pass from Ojeda, smashes it in to make it 3-1. I feel like having those guys come off the bench who are our stronger players in this game really helped us because Atlas was tired, and just the impact that they had was so great. Now, obviously, if you start them, you're not going to have that option, but I just feel like the level of quality that we had on the field in the attack as soon as we brought those two on just really jumped up a notch, and it was too much for Atlas, and they just kind of crumbled. And then, yeah, the whole scuffle, that was, I mean, they should have sent off the guy who scratched Ojeda's face. I don't know what the ref is doing,
Yeah,
but
not
it was crazy.
yeah, not only that.
Rucker
I
wanted to
mean,
go
the
fight
ref.
somebody. I don't know what he was doing. Like, Schlegel is the peacemaker. That's crazy. Like, let's be honest.
The ref there was just he was just there. He didn't want to get involved. Um, but look, there's a reason why Kokaro was loaned to Atlas. He's with Montreal. He's a Montreal player, and he's not been having the best years in his career since he came to this side of the world. When he played in Argentina, he had around 20 goals in the Argentinian league. But then in Montreal, all he did is get injured. And, Montreal is different than Orlando. At least Orlando, you got the parks. In Montreal, you got, it's French Canada. It's cold. Not, he doesn't speak French. You know what I mean? He has to speak English. So he's pretty much, SOL, there. And so, um, he requested to be loaned, and the new coach of Montreal on the preseason allowed him to go to Atlas at that time. So, not a lot of, I don't know. I just think he has. There's really not a lot of disciplinary records this player has had in South America. I actually looked. He had maybe he. I think I have his data here. He had like 2 yellow cards in Huracan, 3 yellow cards in Montevideo City. Really not a lot in Montreal either. But I don't know. In this game, I just feel he was wired. I mean, his wires were crossed, and he just looked off. He just looked like he really wanted to play extra physical against Orlando. I
Do you
don't know
remember
if
there was that early penalty
Orlando.
shot against him, and he just like lost his mind? That was like so
Yeah, he
early, like
lost
in the
his
game,
freaking
like, and it was
mind.
the
Yeah,
weakest penalty shot. It was nothing in it, like. Yeah, he just looked like a
Yeah,
very
so
angry,
he
mustachioed man to me the whole game. Not
yeah, he looked
surprised.
like
Yeah,
Wario,
not surprised Wario
like
got sent off,
Wario.
bro. He looked very frustrated.
Yeah, but I looked to past disciplinary issues because I'm like, he didn't look, even his eyes. Like, I mean, he looked like he was on something. Be honest with you,
Yeah,
like it just didn't make sense. Like, why?
he went full
I
loco.
would understand. Yeah, like I would understand that attitude when it's a rivalry game, like an Inter Miami Orlando, or but not from a player that Atlas and Orlando haven't really played each other. Just seemed kind of weird. Now, aside of that, I mean, this Atlas team, I honestly thought it was going to be more of a
You
test
know
for
what's
Orlando,
funny is it
and
kind of looked like Atlanta when Pineda managed Atlanta. You know what I mean? They just kind of crumbled at the back completely. Like it was not
yeah,
so. If anyone doesn't realize, Gonzalo Pineda is the manager of Atlanta. Is now managing
yes, not my cousin, yes,
Atlantis, not Luis's cousin. Um, Also, I think maybe there's some impact here on them with the fact that their club is under sale, right? Like there's this issue in Mexico where that they're owned by someone who also owns Santos Laguna, and they cannot do that anymore. And so they've chosen
yeah,
to sell Atlas of the two clubs. And so these players, knowing that their club's under sale, I just feel like we were the better team, and we kind of put them to the sword at the end of it, and it was very good in the stats. I mean, they only had one shot on target all game. We had 10 shots on target. They had much more of the ball, but we just made much. We were much more clinical, and we made the most of the chances that we created, and we created more chances.
yeah. Yeah, 110%. For Orlando City, this win, keeps them alive in League Cup with 4 points. And for Atlas, they became the first Mexican team eliminated. I actually spoke to some Atlas players. I didn't have the footage, but they were just there walking by, and they said, and I got in my notes here that they thought the refereeing was a little off for them, but this was the first time to participate in this type of tournament. They really didn't understand very well some of the rules, but they promised to come back and do a better job next time. But it was a great experience overall. That's what one of their captains said. And that tells you that if a team that's participating in this tournament, it's saying that they don't know anything about the Leagues Cup, like there's something wrong there. So, but anyways, something wrong with that tournament. But
Luis, I
yeah,
don't know
welcome
how
to
I forgot this off our agenda for today. I guess because it just happened like last week, and I was thinking so much has happened since then. But
yeah,
let's talk about Tyrese Spicer for a second.
100%.
Joining from Toronto. I'll give you the facts, Luis. He has been acquired from Toronto in exchange for 225,000 in 2025 GAM money or Garber bucks, and 275,000 of 2026 general allocation money. And it was announced today. That was announced on Friday, August 1st. And an additional 50,000 in GAM will be sent to Toronto if certain performance incentives are met. Ricardo saying, welcome Tyrese. He's a hardworking, left-footed talent from Trinidad and Tobago who brings additional depth and energy to our side. So Luis, were speculating whether it was going to be a left back or a left wing. And Tyrese is everything. He can play left back, left wing. He can even play striker. Your thoughts on our new signing?
It's and I know probably a lot of listeners and a lot of viewers. It may be your first time experiencing Orlando City, and I'm sure you probably read news around the league. But these are the type of signings Orlando City makes. This is exactly the type of signings, and it's not lack of ambition. It's just smart spending. Like there's gonna be some botches down the road, like Muriel's contract, for example. There's gonna be botches. There's gonna be issues. I'm not saying that they're a perfect front office, but there's also gonna be ace of spades everywhere, like Angulo coming cheap Ramiro, Enrique, Martin. Your Martín Ojeda came completely unnoticed, and people were ready to also throw the towel on him, and now they're praising him. So it's a low cost, low. It's maybe half a milli, low cost with really a high upside, and those are the type of signings Orlando City makes. When people ask me, but Luis, you have Huming Sun joining LAFC. Why can't Orlando make subs like just signs like that? Sign Huming Sun here. Orlando, I envision that those signings may come about probably in the next few seasons, but Orlando, it's a different type of market than LA. Number one, and number two, it's Oscar. When you adapt better in the system is when you have something to prove, and I think this cat right here didn't get a lot of time in Toronto. This cat already was scouted previously for last year. He was scouted by um, Ricardo Moreira, his staff, and also Oscar Pareja. He mentioned it on the press conference. So they wanted to get him on the last window, but he couldn't get rid of his contract. He couldn't go into any contract negotiations with Toronto at the time. So they waited for him for this window, and finally they were able to capitalize on the signing that they've been wanting for the last year. So um, he was the number one draft pick in the MLS draft in 2024, if that says anything. But again, I think this is a player that has a lot to prove. And I think when you ask people from Trinidad, which I've been able to talk to, some colleagues there, they speak very highly of him. He is a starter in the Trinidadian national team. And, again, it's a high upside signing for Orlando City. And yeah, I think we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I mean, Oscar said we need bodies. I do so as well. And I think he's able, not only, like you said, he's able to play three positions: winger, left back, wing back, and also striker. So four. So I mean, you have four positions there. Um, so I think it's a conscious signing for is a typical Orlando City signing, and so I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt. And I mean, and if he sucks, we're gonna say it, which I highly, it'll be selfish of me saying, just because he's not like a human son that he's gonna totally bomb, right? I remember when Muriel signed, everybody was like, "Oh, Muriel, let me talk to you, buddy. You're a great signing." And then look how it panned out. People here in the fandom kicked out Erjan Kara, got all upset. He scored still 8 goals and 4 assists, and they still hated him. And it's just we cannot compare ourselves with other teams. I feel, I think we are on our market on our own, and I think there's been more positives and negatives when we've signed players. I mean, yes, there's been some situations and some signings have not panned out. Van der Water, what's the other one? Muriel, right? So there's a couple that have not worked out, but there's and a lot of them worked out tremendously. So I'm happy with the signing, John. I think it's a signing that we need. I don't know. I know that you're excited that he's Trinidadian from Kevin Molino.
Yeah, man. I mean, that was a cool video we saw of Kevin Molino saying welcome to, being a Lion. So I'm with you. I think it makes total sense. It definitely he was a number one draft pick. We've seen what we've done with guys that have come out of the draft that were way lower down. Like guys like Duncan and stuff were nowhere. They weren't number one draft pick. So Spicer, I feel like he just didn't get enough chances at Toronto, but B, like, how do you shine in a team like Toronto of the last 3 years? What are you gonna contribute there that's helpful in such a bad environment where he probably just didn't enjoy it. Like he got drafted into a bad team and has been in that bad situation really ever since. So the club calls him a forward, but really, like, he can play anywhere on that left side. I think he's going to be a rotation guy, but also maybe maybe we're going to go to putting him at left back. And then, the abilities that Alex Freeman has up the right-hand side, Tyrese Spicer has a similar ability to do something similar on the left-hand side, right? He's fast, he's big, he's physical, he can dribble with the ball. If we want both our wing backs to do that, then he could definitely do that. It's kind of if people have been watching U.S. national team, and they probably won't like this, but he's kind of like a Max Arfsted. He can play striker, but he's also good down the left side. He can even play right wing. So we love a player that's versatile. People here in this club love a speedster. They love a guy who's going to work hard. And I feel like Tyrese Spicer is definitely going to be doing those things. So I'm going to call it here that he's going to be a favorite within like half a season, I reckon. I don't know. I just have a feeling that people are going to really like him because he's going to bring pace and energy.
Oscar mentioned to me two things that are very interesting about this signing. The first one, three things. The first one is that he already knew they wanted him. So since last year. The second one was he's coming not only to compete with Angulo because Jutaro's sideline, and he actually said it, but he's here to build a connection like Pašalić with Freeman. That is exactly why he's coming. And the third one was that this is a signing in which, it's essentially coming on a very heavily scouted situation. Like they've done their research. They feel this is a guy that's going to mesh very well, and he already knows the league. And for him, he said, if I'm making a signing in the middle of the season, I want it to be ready to play. I don't want to like start telling him, oh, this is the MLS, this is how it's going to work. He's ready to go. And so he liked that. So watch how he builds rapport with Angulo. I think it will be
Do you feel
interesting.
like he's going to be the left back and Angulo the left wing still?
Okay. I think so. Or they could switch based on.
I feel like he's been playing part of a five back. I don't know how much time he's played purely as a left back, as a back four, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, like I said, he could be a win back, just him, and Angulo be subbed out, or, he could play, let's say Angulo gets a little tired, but you still want to have that presence and that speed on the wing.
In multiple positions. They might use him off the bench as a striker option at times.
Right. You switch Spicer for Angulo, and then you push Angulo back. Lately when
a lot of
Orlando has
one player, which is great.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's a smart move. I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt again. And it is part of the game. Not all signings that a club makes work. Look at what's happened to. And again, have you guys checked out the drama of Mihailovic? What's happening in Colorado? Mihailovic is gone out of Colorado, which was one of their best players, if not their best player, and he's gone now. I wish we would have signed Mihailovic.
I also think you got to remember we only had like five. I think we had like 700. I can't remember how much GAM we had, but it wasn't much more than what we're spending on Spicer. We have the U22 slot. I don't know if he's going to be a U22 slot. I don't know if he can be. I don't think he can. How old
Spicer?
No. So I think we still have the U22 slot available. I don't know. We'll see if there's going to be more. They might move some things around. The window's not ending. But this could also be the only move we make. He does solve multiple problems. I also think it's cool that he's going to be back in an area, Luis, that might be a bit more like home to him. Obviously, we've got a lot of Trinis here in Central Florida. He's closer to the islands. Maybe there's just a little bit of like, okay, I can feel a little bit more like I'm somewhere closer to home and have that kind of sense of belonging than you would maybe all the way up in Toronto.
There was another rumor, and I do want to bring this up because it was a colleague from Brazil told me about it. So there is a rumor going around about a Brazilian player from the second division of Brazil called Pedrinho. the news outlets there said that Orlando City offered a $3 million contract on this player, and then the club apparently Goiás, which is a second division team, very economically impacted club, is a very poor club. Um, I think they're using Orlando City's name just to boost, like, just to say that someone's offer. I mean, look, this kid,
I mean, we get linked
he
with
has
Brazilian
like,
players because of Kaká alone.
yeah, he has 4 goals, 1 assist. Like, he's really not all that. Um, this Brazilian club then came out saying, "Oh no, we rejected that offer, and we are asking for 17 million." You're gonna ask for 17 million for a player that scored 4 goals in one season? Like, that to me is, I mean, it's too much, man. It's like, I understand this is the United States, but don't rip us off, bro. Like, 4 goals. Come on, man. So it's a rumor. It's really nothing true. From my understanding, is he's told me that it's just pretty much the agent just playing games, just throwing out numbers just to get some clout. There's gonna be a couple of things like that. There's only an under 22 slot, like John said, for Orlando City. We have nothing
Yeah, I mean,
else,
the latest
unfortunately.
information we have is
So
based on March 20,
yeah,
what we get out from the last window. We don't know, this window. F here talking about the GAM being split, which, yeah, that is part of this. So not all of that goes directly on the 2025 GAM. Some of it is
hmm
2026 GAM, but as of May, we only had 730,000. So
yeah. So
yeah,
200
I
out
mean,
of
but
that.
also you have to remember there's Alex Freeman. If they negotiated a new contract with him, are we going to hear about
Yeah,
that? Is some of that going to come out of it? Maybe Alex Freeman's going to take the U22 slot. That would kind of make a lot of sense in some ways if they
yeah,
want to pay him more and keep him around longer, which I know they do, and they're trying to work on that. So yeah, we don't know. Things might have changed. Contracts can edit and change from window to window. As this window opened up, they might have bought someone down or moved some GAM around. We'll find out.
yeah.
But as of
Even
right now, it does look like we will still have a U22 slot available. Who knows if they're going to do something with it?
Yeah, even though people want us to say, well, let's get rid of Muriel then. God damn it, let's get rid of Muriel. They're not gonna get rid of Muriel, guys. I'm sorry to break it down to you. They're not gonna get rid of Muriel right now. Oscar just came out at a press conference saying he needs bodies. I mean, that's a $3 million body right there. So he's gonna use it even if it's just pass the ball here and there. Like, we need him, unfortunately, and cutting him now is just not gonna work for us. It's just gonna be, it could. He's very important in the locker room right now, believe it or not. But that's another story. OCB, again, sucks. Unfortunately, when it comes to the results, the latest results, 4-0 loss against Huntsville
Yeah,
City, I believe.
yeah.
Right?
Before this, and then
Gotcha.
4-1 versus. They've conceded 11 in their last 3 games. Defensively, it's not going well for OCB. This game, like 4-1 on the scoreline doesn't really show. Like, it was a fairly even game in the stats and the way they played. It just, New York took their chances and we did not. But yeah, it means that OCB are in a little bit of a free fall. They have lost 3 on the bounce with conceding 3 or more. Like I said, 11 in the last 3 games. And they are now out of the playoff spots. They're down in 10th. Yeah, New York City essentially leapfrogged us with that win. So they got a lot of work to do. I believe it's 8 games left on the season. The lineup for this one, I feel like sometimes people, they're saying, oh, they didn't have the guys, the starters for OCB, or, they were with the first team. But, a lot of these last few games has had
No.
the same team that has been there at the beginning of the season. You got guys like Justin Ellis, Colin Gusky, Platts, Tahiri Brown. They've been playing all the time. Shaq Muhammad, they've all been playing all the time. Yeah, there are a few other guys in there rotated, but I don't think that's the reason that we're seeing such heavy losses over the last few games. I just think they're on a downturn. They're not performing well at the moment, and they got to turn it around. So it's a development league, Luis. They learn from failure. This is how you learn, right? You gotta turn it around. But I think conceding so many goals per game is a big concern at the moment for OCB.
Yeah, I mean they got. I think the coach needs to prioritize the defense a little better. Maybe do some drills to improve just the communication between the center backs, and it's just the tracking is, especially during transitions, just they're not able to be a compact defensive unit. It just, I mean, if they become one, they'll be able to definitely mitigate some counterattacks from some of the teams they face. Um, they like when they trail one goal, it's kind of like they demoralize. It's kind of like that, but when you poke a balloon and it deflates, and it feels like also some of the substitutions is that they're not able to shift the momentum at all. And again, the motivation is there, guys. I mean, if you guys want to play in the first team, you want to follow Alex footsteps, like you gotta ball out every game. There's people that say, hey, they should integrate some of the, they should loan some first team players into the OCB squad. No, that's not the whole point. The whole point is OCB is there to help the
Yeah,
first
I
team.
mean, we're playing a lot of
Also,
young players at the
yeah.
moment, so I feel like
So
there's mistakes are going to happen. Like I said, you're going to learn from those mistakes. This one, New York City only had 4 shots on target and they scored 4 goals.
yeah,
Mercado had a really bad game compared to what he had been, like a month ago, where he
mhm.
was saving 10 saves a game, and he probably would have kept them out of this situation. But OCB really in the stats, I feel like this was harsh in the score line, but at the end of the day, New York were able to put 4 past them, and at home as well. I think is also not great. So hopefully we can see a turnaround from OCB. Still 8 games, I believe, left on the season.
Let's do some comments real quick here. Thank you so much for your support. It says, let's see. Orlando's leading League Cup in yellow cards now. Hopefully the tiebreaker doesn't come down to fair play. Thank you so much, F. Also pretty sure half the team is down a yellow card from suspension now. Jensen, Pedro, Araujo, and Schlegel. Completely agree. I don't think we should. I think we should rotate in League Cup. I'd rather focus on Inter Miami. That's just my opinion. Eric Vega, I have watched multiple highlights of Spicer and he looks pretty good. Thank you so much, my friend. David Albury, I think this dice roll was the number 1 draft pick for a reason and he comes cheap. Our scouting team is elite. There you go. Supposedly Spicer wasn't happy still being on his rookie deal and Toronto traded him so they didn't have to pay him. There you go.
That does sound like
Wow.
Toronto.
That sounds like Toronto. That sounds like definitely Toronto. David Albury, can be any worse than Luis El Toro Muriel. There you go. F, they split up the GAM over 2 years, so they should still have a big chunk of that GAM left, which makes me think another non-U22 signing is planned. We'll see. Howdy, folks. How you doing, my friend? LeFalin, this is, did anyone see the photo of Muriel after the game? He does not look good in shape. He does not look in good shape. Sorry, and to be a professional footballer. I mean, what you think about that, John? I mean,
I can't.
I
I
mean,
feel
I
like
can't
every week
say
I'm just here
anything,
bagging
but
on Muriel. We played
but
well. I don't want to talk about Muriel's disappointments at the moment
yeah,
because we've said it enough.
yeah,
But I'm
yeah,
sure there'll be
it is
another
true.
opportunity soon, Luis, where we have to talk about Muriel. Let's
You
be honest.
imagine in this game he comes
That would be great.
alive,
I'd love
then
to say some positive things about Muriel. I haven't done that since
exactly.
March. So whenever it was, May. All righty, Luis. Let's talk about the Leagues Cup table. Here it is in front of your eyes. after 2 games been played, there are Seattle, Portland, who are the only teams who managed to get 2 wins. And then you've got Inter Miami on 5 points. So they've got a win and then a win
And a
on
draw.
penalties. And then everyone else, like from Minnesota, Red Bulls, all of these teams, us included, we've got that 1 win and then a draw. A loss after penalties for the 1 point, which gives us 4 points overall. So mathematically, really, technically, even New York Red Bulls could get in there. The goal difference will be a big factor when it comes to this. So there's multiple of scenarios of the ways this could go, Luis, but
I
there's
hate this
just
format.
so I think when you have a World Cup group,
So
right, and
dumb.
or a typical group that's like 4 or 5 teams, you can look at all the scenarios on paper and you can go, if this team beats this team and you draw with this team, this team will go through, and you can actually get to somewhere that makes sense. You can try and do that with this, but your brain's just going to get shattered because there's so many different scenarios. And then it comes down to, the tiebreakers, which F was asking about. So the tiebreakers are wins in regular time, goal differential, then most goals scored, fewest goals conceded, fewest points in the fair play table. So that's the one where we would lose because of the yellow cards. And then draw organized by the League's Cup is the actual last one. So I don't know what that's about, but those are the tiebreakers for phase 1. So really, goal differential is the most important, and I imagine we'll come into it. Then after that will be most goals scored from that. So if you have more goals scored than the other team, then you would win that tiebreaker. So many scenarios of who could go through. Most likely Portland and Seattle will go through with even if they get 1 point from a penalty shootout loss, they would still have a very good chance of going through. That really leaves 2 spots. Inter Miami, I think, will push hard for it because they want this tournament. So I'd expect them probably to get one of the other spots. Minnesota are playing very well, and I think it's them who play. Do they play San Luis? Yeah, they play Atletico San Luis, who have not been good at all. So they could also go, there's 4 teams right there that are highly likely to go through. There's another 4 or 6 beneath that could go through, including us as well. So it is mathematically possible, but how much effort do we really want to put into trying to potentially, go through, Luis? And I'm with you, and I think a lot of people where we need to rest some guys. Like Jansen has played both of these games last week, right? So if you play Jansen again, what's going to happen to him on Sunday?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think we need to come out with a rotated squad. Look, Orlando is going to be facing one of the worst coaches in South America in a long time. It doesn't get any more terrible and disgusting than Fernando Gago. And I'm going to be very clear. I said it the same thing with Mascherano, and Mascherano got signed with Inter Miami, and he was not hot at all when he first signed. Now he's hot because he's bolstered his team because the MLS allowed it. When it comes to Fernando Gago, he's in Necaxa after truly botching it with Boca Juniors. Um, he's a terrible coach. He's a very if you think Oscar is defensive minded, this dude's like they really are operating 2 modes. Either set pieces with clutch moments, which Necaxa had against Inter Miami, or also just hunkering down and trying to get the result or the draw. He's coming to a team that it's on the up and up. They have new investors and things like that. But look, guys, I understand that we want to win every game. Orlando needs to win every game, and I totally understand. I understand they're going to be in front of the home crowd, but this is a result that if we tie or win 1-0 with a rotated squad, fans are going to clap and they're going to go home happy. And I think we need to concentrate on, to me, the biggest momentum shifter right now, because there's only a few games left in the MLS, which will be Inter Miami. I think the fans would truly love back, wins against Inter Miami this year. It would be a massive statement in the league, also for us, and it could maybe motivate Orlando to keep moving up within the table, because in the end, I mean, Inter, it is one of our direct rivals right now as well. Even though they're up from us like 9 points, but either way, I mean, they're still a rival. So I think we need to definitely pay attention to that. I agree with you, John. I'm ready to throw that game away. If you ask me, I really don't care. I mean, with all due respect to Necaxa, but I really could care less about, I think Gago's gonna kill it for himself either way. I think, I think Gago is that
Yeah.
bad. But
I mean,
again,
Sounders are playing Tijuana. They're probably going to win. Like Timbers might not
mhm.
beat America. Like that could possibly not happen. Inter Miami against Pumas. I mean, we saw the Pumas were not that great. Even without Messi, I think they'll be able to win. Like we talked about San Luis against Minnesota. So just as I'm going down this list, I just feel like generally,
Yeah,
even if we get the 3 points, and that's if we get the 3 points, I don't think it's going to be enough. And then I said that at the beginning as soon as we got the 1 point against Pumas. And I think I still feel that way. So, yeah, Luis, I'm with you. I think a lot of people want to see us go all out for this and play Sunday. But I think at some point, rationally, you can say it's not that important. And I don't think the club will do that. But if you ask any fan, would they rather win on Wednesday or would they rather win on Sunday? And my thing is, guys like Jansen, guys like I think, like, I'm trying to think, is like Schlegel, Brecalo
Brecalo
played
as
both
well.
games. Anybody like Cesar played both games last week with the
Ojeda.
Heat. I just feel like the even though, yeah, they're professionals and they can do it, at a certain point, if you're so tired, we're going to lose games because you got guys out there who just aren't running and they're just not fit enough to win those balls and track players and do all the things that they should be doing. So I'm concerned about that happening like it did at the end of May, and especially with Inter Miami on the weekend. In terms of like, if you were to go the route, Luis, of like, hey, play anyone you want, you could still play this team. It wouldn't even be that bad, really. I mean, you've got, let's say a very hopeful Jeron Gerbet comes back, but even if he doesn't, you could play Colin Gusky here if you really don't, you're not interested. If
You
you
could
want
put
to
you
just,
could put Kyle
yeah,
Smith
I
there.
put Kyle Smith at center back, but like
Yeah,
Tyrese Spicer could get a game here, give him
yeah,
play Nico
100%.
Rodriguez again, play Muriel in the
That's
10,
right.
right? Like, because if we want to have someone out there, give him some minutes. Shaq could even play. You could have Dagger down in D mid again. Taifi on the right back. You could give Rafa Santos a game. There's a lot of options if you're like, okay, we're not prioritizing this. And I think that's what it comes down to is I would love to have a squad, Luis, where we could prioritize every game. But honestly, we just don't have that level of depth to be able to play our best team all the time. And both of these tournaments require us to play a very strong 11. We're not going to beat, in my opinion, most average Mexican sides with our second team, like our second 11. So
Yeah,
I wish that
100%.
was the case we could. And like a lot of the big Mexican clubs, they can do that. And that's why you'll see they'll fare better. So if in the future, that's the case, then I would never say this. But right now, in terms of priorities, the priority is Sunday. So I don't want to see Jansen pull up on Wednesday and, get a injury or something because he's played too many games and we didn't rotate and rest.
Or Pasalic,
Yeah. All these
Ramiro,
guys.
Ojeda. Like, I think maybe in the lineup that you have, I'll have Muriel up top
Yeah.
as a 9, and then I even put Shaq
Yep.
right there, or even like I'll try Nico Rodriguez in the middle, and then try somebody else on the
Yeah.
right. Maybe
What
we'll
about Caraballo?
see. Maybe or Caraballo, yeah, or Dagardan. At that
Yeah.
point, look, I'm okay with that starting 11. Be honest with you. I mean, the fans, I know they want to see Orlando win every single game, and look, there's a couple things why there are not the B teams for MLS teams are not up to par with the A teams, and that goes to all the teams in the MLS. And the reason why is because we have salary restrictions. You know what I mean? It's just a matter of fact. I mean, if we were like the Premier League or even the Bundesliga, there's not a lot of salary restrictions, and then you can make an A and a B team easy at that point. But in this scenario, live in a different reality. Be honest with you, I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
content,
I
and we want to see the A team go and kill Inter
yeah.
Miami, and I think that's
I,
what
I don't
the
think
club
Oscar will
wants
do
either.
this. I
Yeah, I
think
highly
he will
doubt.
rotate like he did, and we'll see, the opposite rotation guys. But I think there are certain players that he's very hesitant to rotate, like certain defensive players for sure, and
Like
midfielders. Yeah,
Cesar.
like so. That's my concern is if they play every game. I know we have a week, like we have a full week after Miami before we play again at home. So maybe Oscar is just banking on the fact that we can get rest after Sunday, but
That's risky though.
yeah, and especially now we know that Messi is once again not coming to town.
Like, is it confirmed?
Yeah, he's definitely out. They announced that he's out for our game on Sunday.
Oh,
Yeah,
what
and
a
we'll be back
pan!
on Thursday.
What
By
a
the way, everybody,
pan!
to talk all about Miami. Um,
What a
but yeah,
woods, my
and also I
goods.
feel like Necaxa have something to play for, right? So they're going to be going at it. Like they could go through.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Look, if Orlando maybe would have won the game against Pumas, it would have probably
like
then,
Necaxa
yeah.
are in the
I,
same
I would,
position as us, except from they probably care more, is my guess.
yeah,
Like not I don't want to
yeah.
question the players, but
Well,
I
it's
would
funny that
ask
you mentioned that.
how much the players care about Leagues Cup too. Like, are
Yeah,
they really that
it's funny
bothered?
that you meant. Well, it's funny that you mentioned that. There was a colleague from a Mexican outlet. I think it's Fox Deportes, and he came up and he's like, "Yeah, I appreciate how your team and a couple of others, but mainly your team, is definitely putting their best squad against our teams. It's a sign of respect. You know, and like that's how they see it. They perceive that we're putting our best against them, and that is a sign of respect. That's the way they see it over there. But what they don't know is that we, our coach, just is a little hesitant sometimes in the rotation. you know.
He
But
did get his second ever win for Orlando
yeah,
City over Mexican side. I forget
yeah,
that last win against
he
us.
did, he did. But I agree, and I don't know if the fandom agrees. But and make sure you drop your comments. But I want to go all out against Inter Miami. I'm tired of this whole messy telenovela, and I want Orlando City to paint the city purple and tell them, there you go, Pessy. Go cry me a river, my friend. And then close the year with two back-to-back wins this year against Inter Miami. That'd be beautiful, man.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right. We've talked about the table. We've talked about rotation. Let's talk about Necaxa, who is our opponent on Wednesday. They had a really good game against Inter Miami on Saturday. Uh, Crazy drama all over the place. But I feel like they fought hard. They could have gone there and got beaten up badly, but they didn't give up. They forced, Alba to get a last minute equalizer, and then they went to the extra time. Sorry, they went straight to penalties and lost on penalties, or else they would have been walking away from Inter Miami with 3 points. So I feel like a club that is right now, Luis, like they're very hungry, right? Of course, they've got the new ownership with Eva Longoria and the Wrexham owners. If you didn't know, both of them have invested in this club. They're doing a similar thing, from what we can tell. There's a Welcome to Necaxa show coming out that's going to be on Hulu and all that stuff. So it's basically the Mexican version of the Wrexham plan, and they seem to have done that pretty well. So I think they're Necaxa obviously looking at this as an opportunity to play some of these bigger opponents and really have their moment. I'm sure there's going to be a Leagues Cup episode of this
Of
documentary, and
Orlando,
they'll talk all about how we got the draw in Inter Miami. So
bro, I want to
maybe
be
we'll
there.
feature in this documentary because they play Orlando, and it comes down to this whether they go through or not. So we'll see. We'll see what Necaxa bring, but they're definitely on a club that it's I don't want to say on the rise because they haven't really done anything yet, but their fortunes are looking up based on their new ownership and TV show and all this stuff. Just like it was when Wrexham first started out, and they did a pretty good game against Miami. So let's see what they can bring. They in the table, Luis, they are pretty much the same situation as us. They've got the 4 points. So really, I don't know whether they're going to play harder because they really want to get through. Maybe they feel like going through in Leagues Cup is a really good thing for them at the moment. I think this tournament, like you said to Luis, most of the MX sides kind of see it as an annoyance and they want to get back to the league that they just started.
Necaxa, a two-time Champions Cup winner, CONCACAF Champions Cup winner when it was called the Champions Cup. Two-time Mexican champions, one-time Apertura champion. So that's why they have 3 stars. They consider that Apertura another championship. 3 times Mexican Cup winner, which is kind of like the U.S. Open Cup over there. 1 time Mexican Super Cup winners. So Open Cup winner versus the regular uh, leagues champion. The average age of the whole entire squad is about 25 years old. So very similar average age of between us and them. I analyzed this team, and according to one of my good friends there from Fare Sports Mexico, Paulo, I want to say hello to him. Agustin Oliveros, which is one of their center backs, is coming back possibly to have minutes. He's a Uruguayan 26-year-old center back, about 4 million euros worth. So he may be coming back against Orlando. And their best 2 players are Tomas Badaloni, Argentinian, 25-year-olds, center forward. He cost about $2 million bucks. A pretty good center forward, left-footed, right? He could play also the wing. So he's probably going to be starting, and also one of their best players and most decorated players that they've had in the team is Agustin Palavecino, Argentinian as well. He plays D mid, so that D mid, you know, he's a player very similar to Cesar Araujo. So right now he has a goal in Liga MX and an assist. So I mean, he's one of the top players there. He told me to kind of watch out of those 2 because they are very influential. They're on a 3-match unbeaten streak across all competitions. Clearly, their best game and the one that they've kind of, it's been the talk of the town over there. It's been the game against Inter Miami, just because it's Messi's team, But they have an ability, especially with Gago, and he replicated this in Boca Juniors. The set pieces and those late, like clutch winners, like out of nowhere. Like they, so we need to really, even though we're both coming with really good momentum, because Orlando comes with a 3-1 win over Atlas, and they come win against Atlanta and a draw against Inter. I think Orlando needs to just resolve the game right away. I think the way Orlando started the game against Atlas was perfect, and the way they reacted after they tied it was perfect. And yeah, they're a team that is vulnerable. They have had a lot of defensive issues, and also their coach is a little bit eclectic and does weird
Yeah.
formations and may cost them the game. But I mean, I don't know. I just think that a rotated squad could probably handle, go toe to toe. I have a feeling Necaxa is going to feel like this game is so winnable. I really feel like they're going to be a little bit overconfident to face us. So, and that could definitely work in favor of Orlando City. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I believe Oscar's going to rotate slightly, but take it very seriously and try and win this game. And really, I mean, the thing is, we have to almost, if we do want to go through, most likely we need to score, 2 or 3 goals at least. We need to have like a plus. We need to increase our goal differential by at least 2 or 3, right? So we have to have a very strong result against Necaxa. So by that, you would have to play a pretty strong lineup. You'd have to really, go at it quite aggressively. But then Necaxa, they have a similar situation on their side. So I can imagine that that's how they look at it too, Luis. I mean, their goal difference is worse than ours. They've got 0 on the goal difference. So they really, if they want to go through, I mean, Pachuca have played all 3 and they're through. Is that right? Pachuca played all 3 games already? I'm gonna check on FootMob here. No, I don't know what is going on with the league. The League's Cup table on FootMob is drunk, bro. That is so wrong. But anyway,
Yeah, it's probably last
no,
year's.
this is this year's. I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
this is
don't
the
know,
Liga MX table. That's why I'm looking at the wrong one.
bro. I
I'm
would.
looking at the wrong one. That's
Yeah.
how easy you can get confused. Here we go. The actual League's Cup table. Tigres are top with 2 wins, 6, 5 points for Juarez, 5 points to Mazatlan.
Look at Juarez,
5
man.
points for Pumas, 5 points for Toluca. So yeah, I mean it's not like there's a similar situation to MLS. They're also on +2 goal difference, same as us. So yeah, either one of these teams I think has to beat the other by multiple
To
goals
go
to go
through.
to have a chance. And even then, other teams around them have to lose. Like several other clubs have to either lose or, well, really just anything but a win for them, and that would help. So it's interesting. I feel like Necaxa are gonna go all at it, like you said, Luis. I think they're gonna want to come here and like they were like, oh look, we almost beat Inter Miami. They're gonna feel like they can beat us.
No, yeah. I mean, I have a feeling that, and I felt it with Atlas as well. Even their, even their some of their workers and some of their even their entourage, they kind of like I mean, I'm gonna say it. I know that I don't care anymore. They were talking crap about the pitch, like hardcore. How back where we come from, this doesn't happen. Look at that line in the middle of the grass. What the hell is that? Is how you're gonna host a World Cup? Like exactly what these are people that had the Atlas crest on there in our stadium. By the way, saying that stuff. And so they came very like, oh, Mickey Mouse, ha ha ha, where's Goofy at? Like they came very ha ha ha. They ended up with a ha 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 up there. They ended up with a Muscatool, you know where? You know what I mean? The Muscatool was somewhere, and it was a dark place. But I'm telling you, I feel that they're gonna come kind of like that, and it would be cool if our young squad just humbles them. I mean, it's going to be a rotation squad. I think Oscar's going to rotate, but it's not going to be the type of rotation you put on there, John.
Yeah, no,
But
it won't be that.
he's he's probably going to rest 3 players, maybe.
Yeah,
I think I envision him resting some like 3 players, maybe one in
maybe
each
we
line.
see Dagger down and Atuesta, right, and Cesar finally gets a
Yeah,
rest.
Cesar
I
gets
mean,
the
Jansen. You
rest.
could go Jansen and Schlegel. Sorry, Jansen and Breckel. Sorry, you could go Schlegel and Brecelo and rest Jansen. That's an option. I don't know, man. We'll have to see what he does, but it would be very anti-Oscar to, even though he is known for youth development, to play all like a whole squad of, rotation and youth guys. I just don't think he's going to do it.
Yeah. Booty sweat. Look at that. Atlas is a Mickey Mouse club, anyways. There you
I
go.
love that.
Those people have never had to watch Rafa Santos try to figure out where to stand on the field, says F. LaFalen says he's a designated player. I think he's about Muriel. I am from the UK with good footballing standards, and it's just awful. There
Yeah,
you
I
go.
mean, Muriel. It's Muriel. I got nothing.
I
But,
mean,
until he scores
guys.
a goal or
I
gets an
mean,
assist or does something positive, I got nothing else to say.
there are Facebook groups that all day long, from 7 a.m. till 10 p.m., all they do is say, "Why is LAFC signing Heung-Min Son and we have this? Our owners don't like us. Our owners are not spending enough money." And then you put, and at least we try to say all the good things the club is doing, and then they don't they think that this is just FIFA 26, dude, or FC 26. It's just easy as that. Like it's really not easy as that, guys. Like it's not just playing a video game. It is real soccer, and there's a thing called markets and rules and things like that. Yes, it could be better for sure, but we got to do the best with what we have. And I think so far, we have a pretty good team. Booty Sweat says the rotation Puppy did against Atlas nullified the depth substitutions MX would have. There you go, my friend. Nice shout out by John on the team. Maybe giving Alex a U22 extension instead. That actually sounds like a real possibility.
It could
Yeah.
happen. It
I,
would
I
help
mean,
because I'm sure he wants some good money, so that would help.
if, if someone deserves a pay increase, would be
Yeah.
Alex Freeman.
I agree with Booty Sweat, and we talked about it earlier. I can't believe I just said that sentence, Luis. Yeah,
There
there
you
we
go.
go.
Booty
I
Sweat.
agree with them because, yeah, like we have to, if we want to beat Necaxa, doing what we did against Pumas is a good way to go about it. Save
Yeah,
some of the heavy hitters, some of the top
100%.
players in the team to come off the bench and make an impact. I'm just concerned about how tired we're going to be, Luis, this week with all the heat and the games, and I fear one of these games this week we're going to see some really tired legs and some mistakes happening because of that.
It says we have some comments on X. I'm gonna read them real quick. It says Spicy Gnocchi says the defense you're talking about replacing with exactly who? The kids have not been playing defense against other B teams in the last 3 games. Okay, Spicer Santos. Yes, maybe we'll can beat Miami again, but they actually win games a lot without him. Shaq, Nico, and well, I don't know. You put that lineup there, John.
Yeah,
Some of
I
the
mean,
kids. I mean we. I don't think that's what Oscar's
I'm
gonna put on the
look.
field.
Here's the
But
thing, too, right? I feel like that's something that just the club is not going to do. I would like them to do
hmm
it because I think it would
same
say,
here.
"Hey, look where our priorities are. Our priorities are,
Yeah, we
that
really don't
lineup
care
that
about the
I
Leagues Cup.
created is a lineup that I would like to see them do because that just saves all of our players for Sunday." And also, if you did that, it would really, I think, make a big impact on Sunday because Miami are definitely not going to do that, right? So if you were to do it and you say we're just going to put our chips in the MLS basket and say League's Cup is probably over for us, it could be a major advantage on Sunday to have all of those rested legs. Yeah, you can rotate and play a rotated squad for both games. That's probably what Oscar's going to do. That's just me and what I would do. But yeah, I don't. I
Yeah, I
also
mean,
feel
I
like
would.
some people would be like, "This is really bad to play that team," but I don't. If we played that team and the Necaxa beat us 3-0, I'm not gonna be upset about that.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
So I think
be.
other people was like, oh no, we
Yeah,
got killed. It's like it doesn't matter if you know you're putting out a team that is honestly not not the best. It's it's your secondary team. I don't think there's any harm in being like, okay, we
yeah,
lost that game.
yeah, and also whether the team draws or loses, it doesn't matter if it's the U.S. Open Cup, Leagues Cup, or even the regular season. There's always going to be people that are going to be fatalists. That's just oh, it's the end of the world, man. This asteroid is hitting Earth, man. Like we're dying. So it's just. I feel that we need to have our priorities straight. Being a short squad, and I agree with Spicy Gnocchi on that level. That some of the kids may be a little green, and because of their US Open Cup, MLS Next Pro momentum, it's not the best one. But if you ask the OGs, I think who would you rather? Who would you rather? Who do you rather really like go and pursue? Like the MLS that we have only maybe eight
Yeah.
games left. Beat
And
Miami and have a good record against them this year,
and also
or
it's not just like, oh, I really want to beat Miami. Like this is a
yeah,
vital game in the
vital. Yeah,
standings, like we can
yeah,
they
hundred
have
percent.
3 games in hand. If we win this, we'll go back above them, put the pressure back on them, and, we
Yep.
take away 3 points of them getting further away from us. So it's not only for pride and everything, I just feel like plus, like I said, with Messi out, there's a big opportunity for us to beat Miami twice in 1 year. And I think to exhaust
With Messi in
ourselves
there.
for Necaxa and the Leagues Cup and then not go through would
Yeah,
be, in my opinion, a real shame if that were to happen. Now, maybe we're underestimating the abilities of the boy. Maybe they've got all the legs in them to do it.
maybe.
But like I
I
said,
don't
I
know.
think I'm just still scarred from what happened at the end of May.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, and I will
I don't want to see
add,
Oscar
I
make the
did
same
ask.
mistakes as well.
Yeah, I did ask. I was talking to other colleagues, some of them from MX that were there at the game, and I was telling them, technically this tournament should be playing the west side. It's not should be playing the east side. I mean, have you seen the attendance? Well, the attendance in Miami was big. I was like, yeah, because everybody wants to see Messi, bro. Be honest with you, no one's, So, but yeah, they realize that some of the attendance in some parts in the east has been really lackluster, and on the west side, it's a booming, like it's sold out. So I again, and if Don Garber ever sees this little small pod called Loud and Proud Orlando, Mr. Garber, U.S. Open Cup, embrace the USL, hug them, just like hugs. People love hugs. Have the East play U.S. Open Cup and have the West play Leagues Cup. There, you're like that dad, not for you and not for you. You know, you're Solomonic. You're equality right there. I think the MLS can contribute on both tournaments, and I think East playing the U.S. Open Cup will just make the U.S. Open Cup even more competitive, in my opinion. You know, and the League's Cup for the West is going to be huge. You imagine a San Diego America game, or a Portland
Yeah.
Necaxa. It's gonna
I
be better. It's just
I
better
don't I
quality.
don't mind the tournament the way they've done it this year. I just think more teams, I like there it's so like after this it's just literally like a semifinal, a final. Like it's not a lot. So I feel like there's too many teams for how many go through in Leagues Cup. That would be my
Yeah.
main gripe with it. But like I said, if we go through, then I will be like, great, okay, now we're through. Let's make it a real thing. But I just feel like the odds of us going through are so
Yeah.
slim that it's almost not worth
Yeah.
the effort.
I want to thank Spicy Gnocchi because she's always putting attention on our posts and on our episodes. So we appreciate you. Also to everybody that has watched today. You want to do predictions, John? I'm gonna read
Yeah,
some comments
please.
real quick. It says here, booty sweat. After the benching, after so many starts and Spicer signing, it's safe to say Angulo has had the fire lid under his ass. Completely correct, my friend. Booty sweat. We can start Muriel against Necaxa because we need to rest Ramiro. Yeah, I envision that he may have some minutes for sure. Air Vega. I just want our players not to get injured and be ready for Fort Lauderdale. Yeah, I just I'll be
Yeah,
honest with
Air Vegas
you.
said it right. That's the most important thing.
That is exactly what we need, and that is exactly the sentiment here in this spot. I feel, and be honest with you, I just want Orlando to destroy Miami because, guys, you guys don't understand the type of pressure I'm in. I'm in another pod that it's only in Spanish, okay? And everyone in Peru, bro, you go there, they wear that. They only think that Miami's the only Florida team. And when I talk about Orlando, everybody seems like, oh, Miami's better. I'm like, no, they're not, man. They're not better. And so I'm trying to prove a point here, guys. So please, Profe, let's prove a point. Help me out here.
Uh,
Let's beat Miami, and let me stick one up to my friends on the other podcast. Okay. Vinco says, "Good luck, Orlando City in the Leagues Cup from Peru." Thank you, Vinco. Appreciate that. Appreciate that, Vinco, my friend. So
what do you
Necaxa.
got, Luis?
Okay. Shoot.
I'm gonna put W
All
because I
right,
know
man.
you love a W. We went for a draw
Yeah, it's
last
gonna be
game. How do you feel? You predicted a draw and we won. You lost
yeah,
faith,
yeah.
bro. You lost
Okay.
faith. I'm kidding.
Yeah, man, it's because I was so pissed in the Pumas game.
Yeah.
But look, I'm gonna go for a 2-1 Orlando win, and hopefully Muriel comes alive.
I mean, even if we get that, that's not enough.
Yeah,
We need to win. I don't
yeah,
think
that's
that's
not enough.
enough. Maybe it is. Maybe we'll be sitting here on Thursday and we'll be look stupid
You
because we went
imagine?
through on a 2-1 win against Necaxa, Luis. But I doubt it. I'm
I
gonna
doubt it.
go. I'm gonna go draw 1-1, and then
Penalty
no, and
win.
we lose on penalties again. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
not
All
not
right.
feeling the penalties. That was really depressing. I could have just predicted we go through on penalty. I mean, we get the penalties. Like, what's the difference? But yeah, I feel like Necaxa might actually be the better team that we played from the three.
Well,
Atlas was really
surprisingly, I
not
thought
that great.
I thought Pumas should have been
Yeah, Pumas were
the
turned it
best
on the
one.
second half, but that first half, Pumas were like not good at all. So
Yeah,
I mean, I feel like Necaxa. I was impressed with the way they played against Inter
yeah,
Miami. I feel like they show a lot of determination there. Determination there. So I feel like they're gonna come hungry.
100%, 100%. Yeah. So I mean, good for them. I mean, if they win, I just want to be ready for Inter Miami, my
Yeah,
friend. I just want to be able to, it's at Inter&Co Stadium with our fans and guys. No, obviously those guys, there's gonna be some people, blah blah. Be safe. Don't be don't get arrested. Be civil. Let's just beat them just beat them at soccer. Don't beat them on the streets. F based on our first two games, I don't why don't we make Gerbe play against a
I think
Mexican
they're
team?
saying
I mean,
don't make Gervais play because even if he
oh,
comes back, he's gonna get injured. I
don't.
think is what they're saying.
Yeah, I think we should hold out. I mean, we have Colin Gusky. I mean, Colin Gusky could probably, like John was saying, I think could
Thigh
be a
is
good
thigh,
opportunity for
man. I
him.
don't. I saw Gervais once
I don't
again.
know.
He's just sitting up there at the top of the, where all the players are, the top of the west side.
But did you talk? Did you tell him,
I
hey man,
I
what
did not
thigh?
go say hi
Let
to
me see your
Gervais. I'm
thigh.
not gonna grill him on thigh. Yeah, but Ali Watt is suffering from thigh on the pride side, so thigh is spreading, bro.
Oh, also thigh. Maybe thigh and thigh.
Thigh is everywhere.
Thigh. Yeah, I like thighs. Like chicken thighs, obviously on a stew is really good. Yeah.
Alrighty. You want to remind people where they can follow us on social media? I want to say shout out to F
Sure.
because F subscribed on Spotify, on Apple, on Instagram, on X, and on
On Apple,
YouTube.
yeah.
So thank you very much, F. We appreciate you.
You can listen to us on Apple Podcasts. We're also on Spotify. Thank you so much for your support. X LP _podcast, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Appreciate you guys. Make sure you drop us your comment. You subscribe to the channel. And hopefully, another Orlando City W. And if not, it's fine. We just need to stay positive for what's coming against Miami. It's going to be huge. We need to show that we're the best team in Central Florida, best team in the state. And let's keep that train rolling, and then into the last few games in the MLS season, and go from there. Anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
No, but check out Forever a Lion. Last episode I did was with Taylor Williams from Orlando City, UK. So if anybody follows him, you can hear all about Taylor's story. And up next is the Pride Pod. So join us for that.
Stick around for the Pride Pod. It's coming up next, and check out Forever a Lion. F says, hell yeah, best Orlando City podcast out there, and it's not close. Thank you so much, F. Appreciate you. That says 100% F. Thank you so much, Eric Vega. Thank you guys. Stay tuned. Stick around for the Pride Pod. We'll see you there. Have a good one.
Vamos
Orlando.